Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. I'm doing okay. So. I've been around, like this morning, there's like three people anyway, like asking questions, baiting people in. And I actually was writing on behalf of other people that this dumb question could have affected. And it's like, and it was just, a baiting troll, and that it was in my empath support site because there's dark empaths and um not dark empaths. We're all born to be able to feel each other's emotions. That's not a secret. It's just, what do you do with it. So, and then she come back, and it was and I've worked with emotionally handicapped, and she used her autism for an excuse not to understand me. And I have an autistic step grandson that I know quite well, and maybe cut down on the sugar. That's my suggestion. Um, yeah, it is a real thing, but the way I had explained it for everybody, because her question is, how can somebody that says that they're a light-hearted empath not have a good day? And I said that's kind of like telling somebody that's an empath that's in a foxhole that they're like supposed to be happy, you know. She came back with some stupid thing, so I wrote her a little note and called her a troll. And then the admin took my comment off there, but they didn't delete all of my stuff. So I reworded it and came back for her. It's like, I'm doing this for other people because I am happy. But yeah, basically told told her that there's two types of empaths, anyway. So yeah, my and then somebody that I've been trying to get an answer out of is Dr. Scott Jensen in my state, used to be Senator Scott Jensen, is running for governor now. And I point blank asked him 2 weeks ago and today, do you believe that our citizens should be adopted out of our country? And that's my main question. And my second question is, do you believe in same sex adoption? And I don't care who believes what. Those are my questions, and I want them answered. You know, it's as simple as that. And then people were getting down on him for having a plane, and then he said it was a rental. That's not my issue. If you go to medical school and you've got your practice and you're making money, but when I've studied science and microorganisms myself and even wrote a thesis on it, on morgellons.org, um, explaining it to people. For one thing, he's nobody's savior or hero. And that brings me into another point of some of the trickery and foolery that's going on in the world. And, like the Jewish, traditional Jews do not believe in a Messiah from outside of their, a lesser Jew. So if you're not a part of the cabal, like, in other words, there's nobody outside of what they call their home in Israel, in Jerusalem, that would even qualify. Of course, a lot of us really know that. I'm just thinking of kind of the misnomers that are out there about certain things, because people think that, well, we're following a Jewish religion. No, we're Christians. We're following Christ in our hearts. That's there's no name for it. Christ didn't have a name for what he was trying to tell God's children about the word. The word came out of his mouth. Like, I'm doing it. Yeah, not not all God's words were nice either. In fact, there's a debate whether the Bible was speaking of two different gods, like maybe in the Old Testament or New Testament. I think a mixture of both. Well, I know that things have been so mixed up that it's really hard to believe anything. But you really have to search the words, that I do know for a fact. So my debate wasn't with whether or not the guy was flying in a plane, because a lot of my relatives have planes. I don't get down on them because they can afford a plane and I can't. I don't care, you know. But so that shouldn't even be. This one woman brought it up. I told her that's not the issue. The issue is about the children, the wards of the state, being taken out of our country. And all these people know. And how much money is being made off one child. Those are my concerns, So, because he's going after the medical board that tried to go against him for not um, fudging the results of people's tests with all this sickness. Him and his secretary, she's like, what's this? And they want us to count this as one of these cases, and they wouldn't do it. So people started coming against him with his medical license. Now, it could all be a setup, actually, because I've tried to contact him, an ex-senator running for governor. I tried contacting my governor. I tried contacting my local state legislator, which is Jason Rarick is his name. And yeah, a lot of the dark cabal, you'll hear the similarities in the names, or if you have relatives and some of their names are like some of them, and it's like, yep, that's who they are. That's who your bloodline is. So this was for somebody in particular, that part there. But neither here nor there, just a tiny little point for somebody that doesn't really know their family history. Um, okay, I'm gonna light a cigarette and get back to what I was saying. Contacting Rick. Yeah. Well, was on Thursday. Doug called Jason. He's like, "Yo, Jason, this is your neighbor, Doug." Because we almost bought a horse from them, but then his wife and we went over to make arrangements, and she had sold it. The people were there, gave her another $100, and we told her we would have done that. Why don't you just let us know? It was really dirty. It wasn't for me. I had my horse. Doug was looking at this little white one with brown spots on it. And I had my eye on a little bay one that I called Breeze. But Doug fell in love with this one he called Spot. So anyway, so we got messed over. They ended up getting a divorce anyway, because um, he was hanging at the neighbors all the time. He farmer, electrician. After work, he'd go over to the neighbors and have some beers or whatever. And she was out doing her things with riding clubs and stuff. It doesn't really make for a real close relationship when you're both doing different things. But whatever. I mean, that's a whole nother story. So Doug's like, yo, Jason, your neighbor Doug here. I'd like you to give me a call. I tried to call you, didn't get no answer. Let me know when's the time I can come over to your house. I'll come over and we're going to talk about a few things. So far, there hasn't been an answer. But I know Doug, and he'll just stop in there and talk to him just like he did. Jason had no problem standing down at the end of our driveway. And like I told you before, Doug dropped everything, went to talk to him. Now he's in the House of Representatives for us and won't even return. And I tried contacting him too. and I tried contacting him when all this sickness lies started, um, because people, like, if they were not a, well, anyway, I was going to medically inform him and school him, give him a little bit of education, but he wouldn't return my phone call because Doug would go into town and just get accosted if he didn't have his mask on. The vultures would um, surround him. He took care of it. It got to be where when he went in places, um, they would just pretty much leave him alone, except for in the pharmacy, which is really funny. It This one clinic he goes to used to be mine too, but the clinic and the pharmacy are connected, and the pharmacist was getting down on Doug's case because he wouldn't wear a mask. And even one of the employees threw like Doug's change and paperwork back at him. She was so mad. He had to pick it up off the ground, and I knew she was going to pay for that. But anyway, so he was sitting in the doctor's office, so about a week ago or so, and this pharmacist came out there and was really, you have to leave. You have to leave. And Doug's like, have marched him over by the door, and Doug's waiting for his appointment because he doesn't have a mask on. And Doug's like, lets him lead him over to the door, and he's like, he's the guy tells Doug we can go outside and talk, and Doug goes, no, I have an appointment. And the guy's like, you do? He was like, just wanted to kick him out of there so bad, you know. So anyway, they've gone round and round anyway. But it is the people that know what's going on medically, and like Scott Jensen, and really aren't saying so. And then I did bring up on that post, people were telling him to stay safe up in the sky and whatever. Well, it's about, I think, 1990 or so. We had a senator named Paul Wellstone, a Jewish man. Surprisingly, they usually don't take out their own, but he was against same sex marriage and some other things that they passed. And he had a plane accident that did not seem so natural. So, and Doug, every time I bring up, what these people should be saying to stand up for the people's rights, all people, not just a little select few that if you don't go along with the reindeer games, they treat you like Rudolph. Sorry, I'll be Rudolph and save the damn day for everybody in the end. Fucking spineless things. Excuse me. Pardon me. Please. Otherwise, I could start the whole video, but that ain't working. Not today. So, but yeah. And I try not to get that like vile about stuff, but it's not right. Whenever these people get backed into a corner or bought off by the CCP, or ones that are affiliated with them, or they threaten the people's family, I'm like, so what? They destroyed my whole family because I won't back down, because I am not spineless, you know? And that's just the way it is. So, and that is true. So what? Somebody's got to stand up. If everybody backs down out of fear, there's no kind of war. It's already over. The children in the future are going to suffer because we're weak. That's not happening in my life. I'm not doing it. I'm a person, I'm going to tell it like it is. Now, whether this is that way for you, I don't care. But being that I was adopted, if I had had two mothers that had just got through licking on each other, or two dudes doing the same, want to give me a kiss goodnight and tell me I'm their little kid, be like, I am flipping out of here. Because why? Because I have something inside me that's man, woman together making a baby. And I don't care if it's chemicals or what kind of regression. I am not into this new wave human being bullshit. You know, I don't care. Call me and say whatever you want. This is not hate. I am telling you, if I had been a child with two fathers, come home and daddy number one's baking bread, it'd be like, I'm out of here. You people are weird. I don't give a shit. And I'm telling it like it is. That is not hatred. This is my opinion of how I would have felt, you know, because the woman that did raise me was a lesbian. That's what their secrets are, whatever they do in their Masonic lodges. They each have their, and my dad was like a womanizer. Both of them were like weird, you know? And that's what they do in these lodges. Whatever any person's fault is, they cover up for the other person or okie dokie it. I'm not okie dokie none of this, you know? I'm not condemning anybody's soul to hell because of their sexual choices. I'm just saying, leave the kids out of it. Leave the kids alone. Do anything else you want, but leave the children alone. Because now they're trying to make it so a man can teach a 5-year-old girl about her period. That's just so uncool. I mean, it's hard enough hearing it from the same sex parent. Maybe not for you, but for some people it really is a painful subject because it's just weird for children. And a lot of us feel like you have no business even discussing your sexual preference with a child at all, or making that example for a child in any way that they can't conceive naturally in their own selves and being influenced in a clown like direction, you know. So there's some things on my mind today. And that's how I feel. I don't care. And you can have your opinion. You can think it's okay. And I'm not going to condemn you if you think that's okay. All right. You know, if that's what you see in the future, that is a healthy, balanced world for the whole world. If you see that as the actual reality of what our Creator wanted for us, then you don't know why Satan got kicked out of heaven. And there's a lot of deep stuff going on in the world that they're trying to make acceptable that is unnatural. And we all know it, you know. Just like, you know, people fighting over, they call it like, what are you going to call me, racist or what? I hate gay people. No, not at all. I love my own sons and they've done what I would consider horrific things, but I don't hate them, you know. But I'll tell you what, if they wanted to marry same sex, they would have to do it without me in their life. I'd still talk to them. I mean, like, but I wouldn't sit there and watch my son making out with the dude and think this is cool and I can live with it. No, I'm not. I'm not pretending that's cool, you know. That's the way it is in my life, you know. And maybe there's two sets of heavens for two different types of people. Maybe the people that think that's all okey doke. Maybe that's what's being separated right now. Who wants to live where in the future and why? You know, it's not a maybe. But I just thought I'd kind of put it like that. I'm just telling you personally what it felt like being raised by somebody that loved the same sex. some of you have been through that. But when you've seen your own children destroyed because of those type of things, you might take a little different stand on that. But I guess you'd have to actually live it to know it and see it and experience it. But I can tell you all I want, and I can tell you of my experiences or anything else, and you're still going to have to search your own heart, the depths of it, not what's modern and in style and who's going to not like you if you don't go along with what everybody's saying, but the depths of your heart. What is God speaking to your heart? You know? If Satan wanted control over all people, what a better way than to confuse the sexes? And no, people are not born like that. It's an adaptation that takes, just like grooming for child abuse of any sort, and diet, and environment, and now the indoctrination of it in our schools. You know, poor little things. Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people have an awful lot of strong opinions out there. And there's times that I wouldn't say anything. And I think, well, whatever they want to do, yeah, don't involve the kids. I have no problem. Actually, it's not true. I would have my sons here if they were married to a guy. I just expect that they wouldn't annihilate me with any touchy feely affections, all up in my face like that shit. That's all. So, and I would expect the same out of any couple, in public, to act like a decent human being and not express your sexuality for the world to see. It's unnatural. It's not the right thing to do at all. Children have no business knowing what any adult is doing sexually, you know. And with this extreme, they're not given a choice. They're being led to believe what is acceptable to the world and what is acceptable to God are the same thing. Love is love. That's true. We have a loving God and a forgiving God. But people know in the depths of their heart what they should and should not be doing. That's a true thing. You know. Why can't we have separate societies for people that want to live around other straight people and be, oh, you want to exclude me? Whatever. I don't want to include you either. Not that deep, you know? That, yeah, the society and in the world, everybody, if you say, uh, you don't like something, if I don't like something somebody does sexually, they're going to call me racial, or racist, That's ridiculous. Yeah. But thing is, it is all about messing with the children. And people, if you don't see that, please search your heart, because that's the main point right there. Don't let it go. Just give it some thought. Just maybe do me a personal favor. anytime you see an encounter, which is every day, a situation like that, ask yourself if you really believe that's what the human race is all about, or is that what went wrong with the human race and why people are struggling spiritually today? Because people don't want to admit that Satan can get at them and their egos are in the way. And God's just saying, hey, just put your ego aside and let's think logically here. What's really good for a little child? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking. I know what I think, you know. I think I didn't teach my sons to be girls because I expected them to lead women and girls instead of trying to be one, you know. And I never wanted to be a man because I would look in the mirror and I'd think to myself, I kind of look like a girl, you know. So, yeah. Anyway, and men and women have male or female features both gathered from either parents. It's not, and they can keep playing pretend. Let them play. You know, I'm just hoping that someday all this retarded craziness will end because unbelievable. I mean, yeah, I heard Lionel Nation say something like, what about these people who say if there wasn't a God, you'd be dead? And yeah, he got me thinking about it. But just right now, I gotta really respond to that like this in my life. That's an absolute true fact. Be like if I poked you in your eye, are you gonna be okay with that? And and if I get cut off, I love you all. I'll see where I'm going with that. Um, let me see. How, let me see how I want to word this. I wasn't going in a very nice direction. It was kind of a little bit even borderline filthy because when I get mad, I'm not thinking straight. So, but anyway, no, you don't push a lion in the corner and then call here kitty kitty all covered in blood with a piece of meat in your hand and expect that kitty's going to come up to you purring. And then this, why don't you just give it one more slap in the nose with that raw piece of meat and see what happens? You know, that's the feeling. So I guess you really most people, it's easy to say, they would do something if there wasn't a God. There are times in my life God has helped me not hurt another human being because any other human being wouldn't have considered God in that moment. That's what I'm saying. And people can offhandedly say something, but have you ever had a 38 in your mouth and prayed to God? Have you ever had somebody beat your head in and let them walk away or these type of things and absolutely laid no hand on nobody? After a while, you get a little sick of something, you're going to do something back. And if they end up walking away with their life, then they're the lucky one, you know. And you could ask yourself, would I put myself in that type of position? I didn't put myself in any type of position. I have liars and manipulators, master craft witchcraft trying to come down on me and the people that I care about. And I'm a fighter and I'm not letting it go. That's the way that is. So that's yeah. Well, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon. I think today, people say the 5th is something going on at CERN. Anyway, you rearrange the numbers if you're going to use gematria or numerology. Today, tomorrow, and the 5th or the 6th could all be involved, right up to the 9th, actually. And 9 is a really big number for these creatures. Don't be fooled with the 666 because it is the 9th level where they'll never be allowed that they're trying to enter that state in our temples. The highest pinnacle being like a number 10, God's up there. But try and really, really envelop you and get in there in every extreme. They try and wreck your brain chakras down all the way up and down your spine to affect every part of your body, from your feelings to your mind to your stomach, everything, your air, everything that's involved. So when we think, and this includes me, anything, when I think about anything, it's not so much that I have to ponder how I actually feel about this situation, but I do have to consider everybody that is involved in it, not just what is, like I say, going on in the world, the norm for what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. The question is, what is good for the future? So, or even people that can't help themselves. There's some questions to leave me on. I thank you for joining me, and I appreciate taking the time to chat or leave a note. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a beautiful week coming up here. I plan to. It's supposed to be like rainy and gloomy forever, but no, it'll be okay. Life is life. Life is good, but they're selling babies out of our country and right in our country, making money off of children that are being abused. And yeah, God forbid. All right, everybody. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.